So here's something a little bit different. Recently, I came across these. These are, as you can probably deduce by, looking at them, Metropolitan Railway tickets. As you'll know if you're a regular viewer, and if you're not, then maybe you should give that a go, the Metropolitan Railway is something I cover a lot. So I thought it was worth picking them up. Historical materials are always useful for my videos. Plus, they were pretty cheap. So what do we have here? Well, these are Edmondson tickets. They were invented in the 1840s, and they're one of those concepts that's very simple but nevertheless revolutionary. It used to be the case that train tickets would be written out by hand by the booking clerk. Thomas Edmondson, station master at Milton on the Newcastle and Carlisle Railway, realised that this process could be simplified. After all, there's only so many places you can go on a train. So why not pre-print a bunch of pieces of card with the destinations the railway serves, then stamp the ticket with the date when you sell it? Such a basic idea, but when you think about it, essential to the functioning of the railways. Can you imagine trying to cope with rush hour traffic with handwritten tickets? Unsurprisingly, Edmondson's idea caught on very quickly and became basically universal on the railways. He improved on the concept as time went on, inventing machines to speed up date stamping and ticket printing, and made quite a lot of money. His tickets were used in Britain all the way up to the 1980s, and in some countries they're still in use. Heritage railways often use them too. Ticket inspectors would take a clip out of them, which you can see on some of these tickets. So let's take a closer look at these. I have done no in-depth research on this, so what I'm going to say here is heavily speculative. I dare say someone with a better knowledge of tickets could tell us a lot more. What we can say for certain is that these tickets are from before 1933, because that's when the Metropolitan Railway became part of London Transport and ceased to exist as a separate entity. This first ticket is from Aldgate to Liverpool Street or Moorgate. Liverpool Street and Aldgate being adjacent on the map. Aldgate opened in 1876, so that slightly narrows the date range down. Imagine being able to travel on the Underground for a penny and a half. Insane. I don't know why the ticket says Aldgate Met, but if I were to guess, I would say that it's to avoid confusion with the District Railway's Aldgate East, which opened in 1884. Note that this is third class. The Metropolitan Railway, like the main line railway companies, offered first and third class travel. Why not second class? Well, therein lies a tale. In the early days, railways really did not want to carry poor people. Third-class carriages were, well, this is a replica third-class coach from the Great Western Railway in the 1830s. Imagine riding from London to Bristol in that, especially in winter. In fact, were it not for the Railway Regulation Act of 1844, I suspect they would hardly have bothered. The Act obliged railway companies to provide affordable trains for working people, which were known as parliamentary trains. These were slow and uncomfortable and often run at inconvenient times because the railways just decided to be massive jerks about the whole thing. But in 1875, the Midland Railway came up with an alternative solution. The Midland ran from London to the north of England and were in competition with the Great Northern Railway and the London and North Western Railway. They couldn't beat those companies on speed, but they could beat them on luxury. So they got rid of their third-class compartments and relabelled their second class as third. This drove the other railways nuts because they had to follow suit if they wanted to remain competitive. Here's the inside of a Metropolitan Railway third-class coach, and it's pretty plush by modern standards. This ticket is from Moorgate to Baker Street, Edgware Road, Paddington or Bayswater. It offers 2 stations for Paddington, Bishop's Road or Praed Street. Praed Street is the District Line station today, having been renamed in 1947. Bishop's Road was the Metropolitan Railway station, which ceased to exist as a separate thing in 1933. These days, it's the Hammersmith and City platforms at Paddington. The fact that this Metropolitan Railway ticket enables you to get to a pair of District Line stations references the fact that the Circle Line used to be worked jointly by the Metropolitan Railway and the District Railway. This ticket must be over 100 years old because it refers to Farringdon Street Station. This is the original name of Farringdon Station, which was renamed Farringdon and High Holborn in 1922. You can still see that name on the Underground Station building. Aldersgate Street on this ticket is an old name for Barbican Station. It was opened in 1865, renamed to Aldersgate in 1910, to Aldersgate and Barbican in 1924, and to just Barbican in 1968. So this ticket must be from 1910 at the latest. The King's Cross station it refers to no longer exists. It was a separate station from the current one, which opened in 1941. The building is demolished, but the station site is very visible from Thameslink trains. Something I didn't mention earlier. Notice that it says via Farringdon Street. The Metropolitan and District Railways operated the circle jointly, but in different directions. This ticket indicates that you'd have to use the Metropolitan train rather than the District. Why you'd want to take the District train, which would have gone the long way around, I do not know. Maybe some people are just like that. The back of the ticket advertises other Metropolitan services, and this was really the thing the Met were most eager to push. This idea that you could use the line for long-distance commuting and live out in what was then the countryside. Note that Aylesbury is on there. The Underground served Aylesbury from 1892 to 1961. The mention of Uxbridge really narrows down the date range for this ticket, because that town only got a Metropolitan railway station in 1904. So that means this ticket must have been issued between 1904 and 1910. This is the final ticket, St John's Wood Road to Baker Street. St John's Wood Road is a station that no longer exists, which was on the site of this rather uninspiring hotel. It opened in 1868, got renamed to St John's Wood in 1925, then to Lord's after the nearby cricket ground in 1939, then closed later that same year. It was replaced by St John's Wood on the Bakerloo line, which is now the Jubilee line. What I find interesting about this one is the advert for the Parcels service on the back. The railways used to deliver parcels on passenger trains, and the Metropolitan Railway was no exception. In fact, you can still see an old parcels office sign at Farringdon. When London Transport took the Metropolitan Railway over, they decided to concentrate on passenger services and eliminate parcels and goods from the network. So, I hope you enjoyed this miscellaneous tale from the tube. If you did, please do click the like button and perhaps subscribe for more, if you have not already. Thanks as always to my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the date stamp to my ticket. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.